Hello everyone. Getting started for the next tea class. Let's see who is online. So, let me see. Letting people in. Hi Melanie. Hi Melanie, can you hear me now? Can someone hear me? Yes, okay, that's good. And how is this on Instagram? Is it also up and running over there? We are streaming at the same time on multiple platforms, so since it's the first time we are doing this, it takes a little while to get all set up. Sigi, give me a sign or say something. Is it all good on that front on Instagram? I don't hear you. No one tells me anything here, and I cannot see myself the monitor, so I don't know if Mauzi is on Instagram or anyone else.
Can you hear me, Gabriel?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear Sticky, so I think it's on your end.
No, Stig is muted. I see it as muted on the. Now it's not. Now I see.
It's fine on Instagram, I just checked.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, then, yeah, sorry for this technical start, but we are ready to start. So we give a few moments to the people on Teams to join in. Now we have 15 people and growing, so let's wait a second. Just summing up, this is the second tea class of a series of 8 on advanced tea tasting. And today we are still dealing with the same tea we drank last time, which is this tea here, to show it to all the cameras, and is a green tea that we drank last time in 2 different ways. Then we had a homework to do. Let's see of those on Teams. Raise your hand if you have done your homework. Let's see who has drunk the tea in a kind of meditative session, mindful session over the past week. I saw so far only one hand raising. Hannah did that as well, Alba as well, okay, Alisa as well. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. So I did it myself as well, although I have to say it wasn't all that mindful, because I did it surprise, surprise, I did it while I was recording the story that we posted yesterday night as a reminder of the video. So although I was alone, I was still in company of the camera and I had to turn the camera around. So I have to say that personally, my favorite session so far with this tea over this week has been the second brew that we have done together last week. That's the one that personally I like the most. I used in a 160 milliliter teapot, I think it was 2 grams. Maybe I would go as another try a tiny bit more than that, maybe 2.5, and then it should be right perfect for me. Let's see, for those that have done the session during the week, was better or was worse than the one we have done together? Which one liked the one during the week alone better in terms of taste than the one we have done together? Mauzi, Alba, Alisa. Okay, a few have preferred brewing the tea alone. So actually I'm not needed here probably. That's it's either me or everyone else, I don't know. No, but joking aside, of course it makes sense, especially if you are a person that like to give time and attention to the tea. We all do, right? But some of us maybe a little bit more alone, then you might have enjoyed the session more. All right, now for those that don't have the tea at home, just grab any other tea that you have. If it is a green tea, you get closer to what we will taste in today. If it is not a green tea, you can go for something else. That's also fine. And today we will do a different type of tasting. I would say substantially different than what we have done last time. For those that either notified me during the week that wanted to receive the material, or for those that have bought the little sample box that I have here with the tea that we will drink together here over the course of these 8 classes. You got, or I hope you got, the email with all the updates. And how does that work? It works that if you are new in joining these, and I will be repeating these a few times because there might be always some new. So sorry for those that are hearing this for the 5th time. You can send an email to info@nannuoshan.org to request the material that we use in these tea classes, so that next time you can participate even more. All right, what material do we have here? And we will set it up in a way that even those that were not able to print it or they don't have it on the side can still participate. What I share with you is the following. There was a tasting wheel here, and this tasting wheel I printed in black and white just for the environment, and you have 3 different layers of taste. You go from the center, where it's very general, outwards, and it gets more and more specific. So just to make an example, you have earthy note in the center, you go one out, you have forest and wood, you go one out and you have maybe under forest, moss or wet leaves, so you go one level deeper. Now this is out of those that is from the ITMA, out of those that I've searched around, of those that are public, is the one that I prefer the most. Maybe you find something better. I searched these some time ago. And then I share with you a simplified, if you want, list. It's not as fancy as this circle that you see in the other case, but this is something that Dimitri and myself put together when we wanted to describe the pop teas for the pop collection. And there, I don't know, some of these were kind of not very common to us in tea, and some others were missing. So we decided to create our own, and we were still keeping the 3 layers of categories. So if we go, for example, here for the earthy, we said on one side we had that under earthy we have forest and wood, and here under earthy we have 3. We have soil and moss, grains and bread, and animal. And then underneath those there is even more details. So you, I said, have the option to receive them. We are happy to share with the world. So just send us an email and we will send it over. And for those that had already the opportunity to look, I suggest to stick with one of the 2, because already one is pretty overwhelming. If you want to keep one eye on one and the other eye on the other, is pretty intense, let's say. In the meantime, if you would like to turn on the kettle, we will go for 80 degrees. Just to start getting ready there before I actually go to the very point of today's. So today, how can we say? Last time it was more about associations and sensory awareness. So we didn't focus too much at the beginning about asking ourselves how this tea tastes. We were more asking ourselves what we connect the tea with, either another type of food or another drink or even an experience. And then we had this mindful exercise, and today we actually want to be more systematic and go really, step by step to a very systematic approach where we ask ourselves always the same questions that are reported in another sheet that is here, that for those that have printed or have it on the side on the phone or on the computer, they can read it with me. It's several pages. And for those that don't have it, I will just read it through, and next time just remind to send us an email and we send it over to you. Now, a question to the group, and before I forget, last time we said that the most active person on Teams, again, we are streaming on Instagram, but on our website under Tea Collections and Voucher, you still find the product page of the tea classes, and there you have the link to join on Teams. The difference on Teams is that you see. Sorry, Sarah? I don't know if maybe was not speaking to us. And so there you find the link to Teams, and you can join. You can see the other people with the cameras and interact with them. And so we said last time that the person that would be most active would receive, what did we say? A pouch of this tea, I think. You have to help me, I don't remember actually. I have to watch the video again. And Sigi made the big effort actually of recording activities of everyone and has the winner. So Sigi, who was the winner?
Last week's winner was Yannick. I'm not sure if they are here.
Yannick, not sure if Yannick is online, so but we make it public today. It was Yannick, he will receive the tea. And if he's hearing us, please send us an email, otherwise we will try to reach out to you. We continue the game, so you still have your chance to win your pouch of tea, so be active in answering questions. For those answering on Instagram, we have hopefully Maud and Sigrid that can follow a little bit over there. I cannot see the chat there myself. And on Teams, it will be me, with some help, hopefully. There's a lot of multitasking here. And the question now to the group is, what do you think about this method that we have seen, or maybe even a fifth one that we didn't investigate yet? What do you think is the method closest to the one that professional tea taster use? Let's give the option. One is the very systematic approach we looked today, and the other one is tea in a bowl, and the other one was having just a teapot and doing a Western style brew. No answer. It's Mauzi.
I'm always the last person to try to answer. I think it's the systematic approach, just because they're having so many different teas that they need some kind of base to compare them.
Yeah, that's, the reasoning makes sense. Just to repeat, Mauzi said professional tea taster would go with a more systematic approach, asking themselves all the questions that are listed here before they select the tea. Now, let's pretend I am a professional tea taster, like in a way I am, right? But I'm not the type of taster that spend the whole day in a room tasting one tea after the other. Usually I'm traveling to tea plantation. And, on a normal day, when I travel, like in, let's say in China, I would taste between, I would say 20, 30 at the very minimum and 60 teas a day. So since the day is only 24 hours, if I would go with these for every single tea, you guys would have no tea to buy. That's pretty much the problem we would have. And so that makes sense when we really want to go deeper about one tea. But personally, among nearly 1,000 teas that I have selected for nannuoshan, I think I've used this method never. It's just too much, I do it just maybe for my understanding of the teas, that can be, but I would say that after you get some experience, first of all, when you taste the tea, it's enough to get a sip and if it has a chance to enter in your collection or not. That's the very first screening. It's very, very quick. And sometimes it straight away. It could be I take a tea, I sip it, I know the price, I say, okay, I buy it, end of the story. Can be very, very straightforward. And sometimes maybe I have collected on one day, for example, let's say 15 different longing from different farmers. And then in the morning I have a tasting, hopefully not before breakfast, but sometimes it happens, where I just compare one next to each other. And then the approach that I use the most is actually by exclusion. It's very difficult sometimes to pick a tea out of 10 but it's easier to start saying this one not because this one not, and then you live with what is left. So it's not what we are doing today, but I wanted to bring you also a few different approaches that you can have. It's just, you know about tea, you drink and you know. Or when you are very confused and you don't know which one to drink or which one to choose, just go the other way around. Decide which one you don't want to. It's usually easier. Okay, so we get started with our tea tasting thing. Here we take, I have a colleague actually at work that keeps on saying the word thing all the time, and I think I'm taking it. It's a very bad habit. I should not say things all the time. That was my mom was saying. So I wanted to take not a thing but a scale and wait. All right, let's put it to the vote. We can go whatever we want here. We would like good to be consistent. I have I don't know how much, but let's say it's nearly 100 milliliters. Let's say it's 100 just to simplify things. How many grams you want to put in? The options are Maud and Siggy cannot vote. The options are 2 grams, 3 grams, 4 grams. Yes, there is no 5 gram option. Okay, let's see what people write. Shit, I have also to write something here. And what are people saying on Instagram? If anyone is there, I don't know, but we give priority to teams, just because it's the one that I have in front of my eyes. 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4. 4, 4. Ah, shit, too many 4. 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4. Oh no, Siggy is writing. Siggy, you cannot vote. Kristen, 3. I think the 3 is the most. Oh, nice, Siggy, nice. Okay, no, you can vote, Siggy, you can vote. So, 3, we go for 3 grams. I have a little anticipation actually for a video that will come out next week. Today, for the first time, I went into a very dangerous conflict of interest, and I decided to record a nannuoshan video in the office during the lunch break. So, it's nearly illegal because I even booked a room, like a meeting room for the for the video. And the reason for that is, and by the way, I brought all the lighting, 3 tripods, 3 cameras, so it was, massive. It's not that I came really and I passed unnoticed. And the reason was that a colleague of mine, he's from South Africa, and he brought to me a rooibos, saying that he was pretty confident it was a very, 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 very good rooibos. And so I said, all right, then we are gonna to compare yours with mine. And we did that together in that video today. So I will not disclose what came out, but yeah, maybe you can watch the video. It should be out next week. If not here, it's quick in editing. But now back to our taste. Oh, sorry.
Was his organic too?
No, that's the point. So actually the point about the video is organic tea, or does organic tea taste better than non-organic tea? And we had a very good organic rooibos, good because we sourced it and we tasted so many before picking up that one that I'm very, very confident that in that price class is very hard to beat. And at the same time, we had this friend from South Africa that went directly to the farm to pick the tea. So I will not disclose more, but now we start. Otherwise, the class is over. We still have to start. So we write the name of the tea on our leaflet here. Jiao Cha. Yeah, Jiao Cha. And today's date, the 4th of March. I think pretty much everywhere in the world. And then I'm not gonna filling everything on my end, otherwise we stay here forever. But I just go through. There is at the very top. It's like after the date and the name of the tea is the first line. It says rating, with stars from 1 to 5. Most of the time, this is the only rating I put in my hand of the tea when I taste the tea. It's like the final score. And today what we will do this evaluation at the very end. And this gives a reference. And the sheet here doesn't say if you have to evaluate the tea also considering the price or not. It's up to you. Right? Is this really a absolute value independent of the price, or you are evaluating a tea better if for the same taste is cheaper? Up to you. Then you see that you have different subcategories. You don't have to fill them all, you just have the option. You have the type of tea, would be a green tea. The group of tea, you can be more specific. You can mention if it is a green tea from China. You can mention that this is most probably dried in the oven. And you can write the type of drying if you know, just the subcategory of the tea, what cultivar it is if you know it. This is a Daijong, is a big leaf variety. The origin, where it comes from, in this case from a forest near Guangzhou in Guangdong province. The harvest, as precise as you know it, and this way it helps you also starting getting an idea of the tea, right? Like it is a green tea, Daijong, you expect a little bit of a bolder taste. The harvest time in combination with the location tells you when this was harvested. It comes from Guangdong. If it was harvested on the 30th of March, yes, it's early in spring, but we are in the very south there of China. There the harvest starts anyway relatively early. It's different a picking of the 30th of March in Sichuan than it is in Guangdong, than it is in I don't know, in Kyoto, for example, right? Where actually there is no tea at the time, they still have to start the harvest. Then we have the vendor price, purchase, when did you purchase it, and how much leaves we are using. We are using 3 grams. We are using I'm using 100 milliliters of water, brewing at 80 degrees, and then we can write the steeping that we will be using. We now we have to jump a little bit further down to the aroma. So we start with the aroma of the dry leaves. Is maybe everyone knows by this time, but it's way easier to breathe out on the leaves and then smell. Depending who you will be drinking the tea, you want to do it or not, but if it's only you or families. And in the line under the dry leaves, you can write if you get some notes out of it. Sometimes what you can also write is what you don't get, something you were expecting but is not there. For example, I was expecting a fairly grassy tea, but I don't get a lot of grassiness in my nose. So I could write, in my case, I write no grass. And it doesn't have to be super complete, right? You can go as deep as you want. You can smell the tea for 30 minutes, or you do just a sniff and you write down your first feeling. And then from 1 to 3, a little bit easier here, not 1 to 5, you just judge the tea. How do you like the smell? That's it, you know, without like actually I like the smell. And you give to the dry leaves a certain rating. Then I think we will now start with the brew. I have to warm up the water, and while we wait, we have a look now at the table here. You see that under basics is just the 5 basics taste. Sorry, I wait a moment because it's getting loud because of the kettle probably, and then we continue. almost there. So yes, we're going 3 grams for 100 milliliters. On the next page, you have also the instructions, which I didn't read and I wrote many years ago, so hopefully I am consistent, but there you have indication on how to use it. And then further down, there is also a scale of intensity texture that we will see in a moment. What I will do, I will keep also in front of me, if I find it, the list of taste as a reference. That helps me reminding, associating the taste. I have 80 degrees, I'll just warming up like a little bit the guy one. I don't have a waste container because I thought we're drinking green tea and usually I don't wash green tea, so I will drink the water. By the way, this is something common in China, that if you boil some water and not for rinsing, but hot water is drunk more commonly than cold water in China. It's kind of the opposite as in the US. It's people usually don't drink cold water or ice water in China. They go for hot water. It's not uncommon to see someone just putting water on a kettle, heating it up and then drinking it. Actually, it's not a bad idea. It gives you a reference. That's the water you're going to drink in a moment with tea. You can smell, if you did the same, you can smell the warmed up leaves. They are not yet wet, but they change in aroma as they get warm from the guy one. I will do probably 3 grams we have, right? Maybe 40 seconds, something like that. I like to brew green tea kombucha style without the lid. You don't have, of course, to follow everything.
According to the website where you also use 3 grams, you go for 60 seconds.
60 seconds, okay. I don't know who wrote this description. Is it 2 grams or 3 grams, this 3?
It's 3 grams.
Okay.
It's the only parameter I adopted from you.
All right, then I wait another little bit and then I do my 60 seconds. And the first thing we want to think about is sweet, sourness, saltiness, bitterness, umami, which is the first association you have with this tea. Don't think about anything else, just those 5 words, the one you associate first. And then we go back to the wet list. I like to drink, since it's not hot, it's just 80 degrees, I like to drink it warm.
How did you decide on the 4 T's we are looking in detail?
Sorry? How did I decide?
Yeah.
Why I went for this tea? I don't remember.
Yeah, why these 4?
Why these 4? Well, I tried to have... I don't remember why I pick up this precise green tea, but the 4 teas are also a little bit in order of complexity and difficulty in taste. Like this green tea should be fairly easy to understand, and then it should ramp up and also bring some variety. So I didn't bring 4 green teas. So sweet, sourness, saltiness, bitterness, umami. And since I was speaking, I have to drink again. So everyone makes their own mind, right? You don't have to have the same opinion I have. That's not the point here, is make up your own. I just share mine and my thoughts, and you can share yours. So which is the one word among those that you will pick up? write
For me,
it
I'd
down
say
or mention
salty.
it. Salty. Anyone else have a word? I mean, a base taste, sweetness, saltiness, umami. What did I mention? Sourness. What there is?
Sour.
Someone say sour,
I would say umami.
umami. We have them all. So someone says bitter. No one. Not yet. Will come.
For me, it was a bit bitter, but more sweet. And can we choose two?
You can also
Please.
choose two. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'll. As for me, I also actually was undecided between two, sweetness and salty. And it's interesting. It's not very common to have saltiness association with the green tea, and maybe that's also connected with the type of plant. So I would give a 2 out of 3 star. I would personally give 2 stars to sweetness, 2 stars to saltiness, and the rest I don't evaluate them yet because they will evolve over time. And then when you think now, you go one level deeper. You say sweetness. Is there a specific sweetness you thought of? Saltiness is a bit more difficult. But is there a specific saltiness you can think of? Just to mention two. Let's see if I have some here. It's not subdivided in that way, but for example, a kind of saltiness would be seawater. Another type would be just salt. Another type would be the mineral of a stone, like you would lick on a stone. These all goes a little bit in the salty direction. And so
To
you,
me, it's
Mhm.
oh, sorry.
Hannah?
To me, it's most like white miso, like the balance of sweetness and salty.
Okay, like miso
That's
soup.
how it tastes
You
to
say
me.
miso,
Mhm.
so which was also maybe a little bit umami. And in this first impression, you just identify a basic taste and also a word that you want to associate with that specific taste. And then when you keep on drinking the tea, you can refine and you can even give a score to the different taste. So I'm not saying that we're going to drink every tea like this, right? It's just to get to understand. And once you do, the idea is that when we practice this process systematically, at a certain point, you don't need anymore to ask it yourself. You drink a tea and you associate, and you know, oh, look, this is particularly salty. And you get to that just because you're practicing it, thinking about it. In terms of the wet leaves, actually, it reminds me a lot of a rainy day. It's very wet in a way. I mean, it's wet leaves, but it's like a little bit foggy and vegetal, but not too fresh. I would give to these like a medium star, like 2 stars out of 3. Depending on the tea, you can also smell the liquor. It's not always as easy. This, I mean, is it's just there, but it's not really emanating too much to me, at least. Yeah. So now,
A little bit,
Mhm.
like I have some cooking wine that I think is like a rice wine. It reminds me a little bit of that.
rice wine. Guys, don't be shy, right? Even so, share your thoughts, what you are associating the tea with, which is the first. I mean, we had them pretty much all. So the fact actually that all of us pointed out to almost a different aspect, it means it is a very diverse tea in a way, or maybe also kind of neutral. Like there is not anything that really sticking out too much. To me, I would say as a green tea, it's to me it's very mineral for being a green tea. That's you have also to contextualize it, of course, right? You're not expecting the same level of minerality from a green tea and a yancha, for example. And also here you have to make a decision. Do you want here to make your evaluation in the frame of the category or up in absolute term? Is also something that you have to decide for yourself. So now, before going to the next brew, let's have a look at the scale that is under the basic evaluation, which is intensity and texture. So first of all, what does it mean? Intensity, I think, doesn't need any explanation. Texture, maybe. Texture is just the tactile sensation in your mouth. Like when you touch a table and it's smooth, you can have that smooth sensation also in your mouth. When you touch a towel, is a little bit rougher, you can have that sensation also in your mouth. That's what it's all about. And to help you, you have a scale, texture from thin to rough, and intensity from light to heavy. To be consistent, if you go 2 pages down, you have a scale that is given with stars next to it. And I just read it through. In the, for example, the intensity, it says it is the sensation of heft in the mouth, how heavy the tea, how bold the tea is in your mouth. And it goes light, delicate, soft, discreet, mild, balance, substantial, full-bodied, bold, heavy. And the difficulty here is that we are drinking Cha, so the tea will evolve. And maybe you can make a first evaluation, and then at the end you will judge the overall. In terms of texture, it goes from thin, watery, clean, velvety, smooth, round, crisp, mineral, viscose, like almost oil, oily, starchy, powdery, like there was even particles inside. You know, it's not only liquid. When you go to powdery, there is even something more than that. And then fiery and rough. And so make up your mind. You have that scale. You can keep it on the side in front of you, so you can always have a look and use it as a reference. It helps because then you are consistent with yourself when you judge the tea. And you can then compare really future, maybe you get the same tea a year later and you do the same tasting, for example. Okay, I think for the next step we go to the next brew. It goes without saying that the difference between today and last time is that this time we perform multiple brew. Last time we had the opportunity of tasting a taste evolution within the first cup as we waited we let actually the liquid, the water brewing with the tea leaves over time. While we wait that the water is boiling, I get a bit closer to the microphone. Another interesting aspect, it's not an easy one, but it's certainly interesting, is trying to find error in a tea. What does it mean? You want to try to sometimes find out if there was something not properly done during the processing. Maybe the leaves were not picked at the right time, maybe we're speaking about green tea, maybe the kill the green was done too short and the tea has been oxidizing a little bit more over time. Maybe it was not dried well enough and then it's kind of almost wet in the sense that it would get moldy maybe over time. And sometimes maybe the tea, especially green tea, maybe was fired at too high temperature and you have a little bit of a burn sensation. So you want to search those aspects. I hope you won't find those in this, because this is something I ask myself for every tea we pick. Like I always have in mind, let's see if something went wrong there. Sometimes the farmers are under pressure to produce the tea, and of course they can do mistakes. kind of do another minute or so. And while it brews, we can think we can look also at what is coming up. So we mentioned we have the intensity and the texture. It's always, you know, a good reference, right? And next to the basic taste, how strong is the tea? And it's, do we like it at that level? And also the texture. Is it really smooth in the mouth? Is it a bit rougher? It helps, you know, putting, let's say, the tea in a certain compartment in a way. Then in case of the taste, you see that what you have here, vegetal, floral, fruity, and so on, are more or less the same category that you have in the sheet. I don't know if they are exactly the same. Just checking, not 100%, but are very similar. They were written with like more than 5 years between the two, and you can just also here, like you did before you were thinking, is this more salty, more sweet, and so on. You can ask yourself the same thing here, but as you see, it's a bit more difficult because we don't have 5 categories, we have more. But that's also an approach. Just focus on one of those, and also focus on not forgetting your brew. So I did 1 minute 30 actually. And of course, when we do this together, there is a lot of talking and explanation. When you go through this process alone, it's way faster and easier, especially after you have done it for a while. For example, now also because I forgot the tea, there is a little bit of bitterness, and also it is more brothy to me. There is more umami. So I would kind of, the saltiness is still there very much. Also after swallowing, I would certainly give a note, a star to bitterness and a star to umami. I don't find it sour actually. Someone mentioned it before, I personally don't. Sourness in a green tea, I would say, I don't know if I'm right, but in terms of feeling, I would say they didn't fire it at high temperature enough. And it tastes a little bit like grass in a way. It's like still too fresh. They didn't fire it enough. But I might be wrong. And now if we go to the taste, we have, I read them for those that don't have it in front of them: vegetal, floral, fruity, nutty, spicy, fire animal, marine, soil, and that's it. So which is the one that resonates the most with you? Try to it's not too difficult, I have to say. I mean, it's not too difficult, this one. We will go through more difficulty. Like if I read those, it's very obvious, I would say. I don't know, but maybe it's just me.
For me, it's marine.
Marine, we have one for marine.
It has a certain fishy taste.
It's maybe also connected a little bit with the salty that Hannah was saying.
For me, it tastes like seaweed, which I associate with both of those things.
So you're also going for marine in a way?
Yeah.
So Hannah, what do you think actually after the saltiness you had before?
I'd say it's still salty. It's the whole, throughout all of this, I've really been thinking like a heavily roasted pistachio.
That's a nice thought, I would say.
But now it's like a little bit more of like the skin part rather than the nut part. And I'd say like the overall, I don't know how you say it, like the overall sensation is like less oily and a little bit more thin, like a little more watery.
So that's speaking about the texture, right? So you would say more the watery would be 1 star, clean velvety would be 2 star. So you're moving in that range, 1 to 2 star in terms of texture, let's say. For me personally, maybe naive, the first thing I think is very vegetal. To me, that's quite straightforward. That's the very first thing I think. You know, maybe is expected from a green tea, and then you don't think about that. But also the wet leaves now for me are very, very vegetal. And there is a note on top that I would rather say I associate with flowers. Certainly, I don't find it fruity in the aroma.
It reminds me very much of radicchio with like solati, like salt sticks.
Oh yeah. I think to me the smell of it is vegetal, but it's hard to describe. It's more like plants that would grow around water. When I was a kid, I lived in Florida, where there's lots of like cypress swamps and a lot of
Oh yeah, swamps, yeah.
Stuff like that, and that's where it reminds me of, rather than like spinach or kale.
Yeah, you see how many things came out, and it helps having a little bit of guide, right? Like now, let's go back for a moment. If we wouldn't have thought explicitly about picking one among sweetness, bitterness, sourness, umami, and what did I say? The other one. Maybe not so many would have thought about saltiness in the tea, just because it's not a common association. But when you see the word, and then it's a little bit easier. And then it stays with us. You see the word marine, and it attracts you. But maybe out of the blue, you wouldn't think about that. So it helps building up. It's like building blocks, that are referenced there, and then they're just after a while in the back of your mind, and you keep associating them. I'm curious now to see if for any one of you the aroma is more fruity than floral. For anyone is more floral than fruity? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we can, me personally, I give actually a 3 star to vegetal. For me, it's very vegetal. I give a 1 star to floral. I agree with the marine. I give 1 star to marine. Maybe some of you would give more than that. And for me, that's it. Fruity, nothing. Nutty, maybe a tiny bit, but I'm not sure if I would give a star for it. It's not spicy, not animal. Soil, not really. So I think if I tell someone, this tea is very vegetal with a floral background, and there is some saltiness, minerality to it, maybe reminiscent of a marine breeze, would be a good description. Yeah.
And I personally would give the tea a 1 star at nutty, but it's not really a nut, but rather a popcorn, maybe.
Popcorn, yeah, sometimes yes, that's true. Yeah.
I would categorize it as nutty somehow. Sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. At the end is corn, right? So corn. Where do we put it? We don't have corn. Cannot find it. Maybe we don't have it. No, we should have it. But so you see that by this time we've just gone through the second brew. Is already kind of easy to describe the tea, to convey the taste also to someone else, which is crucial, at least for us, having a tea shop online, conveying the taste. But I think also for everyone, like if you want to speak about the tea with your friends or just to share your experience, you want to describe it. We have, I'm reading here the chat, nutty vegetal was mentioned, bitter vegetal, pretty strong from Sarah, salt marsh to me, yeah. In the wet leaf aroma, I get some hint of passion fruit. So here we go. Yeah, that type, maybe that kind of fruit. I see the association. The product page mentioned peach as a first taste note. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know who described it last year. I don't know. It's not
Sounds
signed,
like
right?
Dimitri.
Dimitri, probably, yeah. Interesting. So Dimitri had some fruity association, but we have to think one thing. When Dimitri tasted this tea, it was just out of the it just harvested, right? So now it is a year later. Although we store it in the fridge, nonetheless you have a change over the years, right? Over the year. So it's something to consider. So just to mention that, because now I thought about it, we just put on both the side of the oceans discounts. I don't remember if 20 or 30%, maybe Sven knows, on you know, Sven, if you put them
30%.
30% on a series of green tea even before actually the new tea come out. So it's still the freshest you can get now because the new harvest is not yet there. And since we keep it in the fridge, it's still very fresh. But we want to make room in the fridge. We don't have too many fridges, so we want to make room for the new tea. So just that you know, you have 30% discount on a series of tea. I don't know if it's on this one as well, but you can check it out.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Good. So now, before having the third and last brew, we go to the last part of the note here that says effect on body and mind. And it is at the end also because you get more effect after you drank a few cups. So that's what I'm turning on the kettle here. That's what we're gonna do. Now that you had gone through two steepings, make your assessment, your own assessment for intensity and texture. Look at the scale and pick up a star and a word. Let's do like that just because we are all together. Let's make an evaluation, not in absolute term, just in the world, in the realm of green teas. Okay, let's do like this to expand the scale a little bit.
While everyone is answering, there is a question from Instagram. How many brews can you make with this tea?
So I don't know, because first of all I already overbrewed it, but I would say 3 for sure. And usually with green tea you don't go too much down, and it very much depends how much leaf we are using, right? We have 3 grams here. What did Dimitri say for 3 grams?
3 infusions.
3 infusions, for example. He said we usually tend to be more conservative on the infusion. So like if we write 3, we are pretty confident that everyone can get 3, and you are more likely to get also 4 probably. So we have less complaint, and we don't spend too much time answering your email complaining about, no, I didn't got my 4th brewer. We don't get many complaints though. So I'm proud actually that in 11 years we are at our, how to say in English, Stornorechnung? That's a word. It's when you have to write an invoice because you are sending back a good. There is I don't know how to say that, but that's what you do. So in 11 years of history, we wrote 16. It's not too bad. But sometimes
I mean, I guess you could basically say you gave 16 refunds, and that's the easiest way to explain
refunds. Yeah, but there must be, maybe it's not a thing having that type of invoice. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a refund. Actually, the tea is getting bitterer and bitterer the colder it gets. It's also because it's green tea, so it starts evolving a lot, even with the hair. So some of you online will come to the tea journey we will do this year. We bring 17 customers to Yunnan, Now, I mention it now because we're drinking this green tea and is anyway a reference for everyone that plans to go to Yunnan at a certain point. If you go to Yunnan, don't think only pu'er, right? Like, if I would ask actually what is the most common tea that a Yunnan native person drinks, is not pu'er. They don't drink it. They would drink green tea. That's the most common thing that traditionally is drunk in Yunnan. And in Yunnan, there is a lot of very good green tea, a huge variety, also white, but a huge variety of green tea. So it's also an opportunity to try, if we get the chance, if you go to a tea market, to try also green teas. Usually very cheap in Yunnan. Green tea is usually loose leaf tea in Yunnan, except for pu'er, actually is pretty cheap. So now we go, wait, I still have, I'm lacking behind with intensity and texture. Intensity. Okay. So I gave, in the frame of green teas, I gave a 4 to intensity, maybe between 4 and 3, but I don't like to give mid notes. I find that a green tea is already pretty intense, and a 3 to texture. I would have done a completely different ranking the second time we drank this tea last time in the teapot. Very, very different. So that's why you have to write down what type of steeping you do, because that influences a lot your evaluation if you want to redo it later on, right? Sometimes it's very useful for pu'er. You want to see how a pu'er changes. You drink a pu'er today, and after a year of storage, you take it out again and you retaste it. And you want to proceed in the same way, and you have a comparison. So now, when we think about effect on the body and mind, there are many ways of looking at that. But a very, very crucial one in China is, does the tea gives you a warming effect or a cooling effect? And a warming effect, I think in Chinese would be re. If I'm correct, I didn't review it before the tea class, and maybe cooling should be lang, I think, or something like that. Do we have any Chinese speaker now? No. But this is a very strong importance also in traditional Chinese medicine, whether a person has more a warm or a hot or a cold physiology, and also the food goes along, the drink goes along. And the rule of thumb is that if you are a cold person, you better drink warm. If you are a warm person, you better drink cold, so you compensate that. But also it comes with the weather. If the weather is cold, you drink something warming. If the weather is warm, and so on. And so you basically, it's very simple. You drink the tea, and you get the feeling in which direction it brings you. Don't think at temperature, is more mood and sensation. So make up your mind, and then we share those. You can start writing. Oh, you did already. So please add on and think if it is more cooling or more warming to you. Write it down. It can happen also to have something neutral. There is also food. Usually it's always categorized, but there is also food that is more neutral. It's neither warming nor cooling. We have 2 cooling. Anyone else is undecided or doesn't want to tip? Is anyone thinking that is warming? Neutral, okay. So for me, I put actually a dot under the sea of cooling. It's like it is cooling, but it is right there. It's kind of closing. Okay, Sig is drinking again. It's kind of closer to the neutral. Like it is cooling, but not as much as other green tea. And I would feel very different after having drunk 200 milliliters of green tea if it would be really a cooling tea.
It gives me kind of a windy feeling, sort of like wind in the face.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it comes also with the marine maybe, and then you're on the shore. You can build up actually even your landscape picture out of it in a way. It's a nice. I mean, some people have very strong association with, for example, of feelings with numbers or of feelings with the landscape and so on, and can help a lot. The other aspect that we read here is it more relaxing to you or more exciting to you? The effect you have on your body. We have an exciting. Anything else? Exciting. Do you feel the caffeine?
Gives me a completely strange body feeling, and I don't like it. I'm very happy that we are done drinking it.
Are you done with the pouch? Otherwise, you can give it to your customer as a.
Yeah, exactly.
As a warming green tea, something, or not too cooling. Yeah, I'd see. For me, if I would do personally Gongfu Cha, I would have to pay more attention in not overbrewing, and I would definitely, for my taste, I would do it lighter. In fact, I wrote in the beginning I would go actually for 2 grams with this tea, and I'm 100% sure I would have enjoyed it better than I did. And it's like it is a relatively heavy green tea. What is interesting though is that the bitterness is really coming out really now. So for a green tea, it holds pretty well in terms of bitterness, I think. And this is actually all the evaluation. Now you see that it's just a page, it's not a lot, What we didn't do very much, also for the lack of time, is adding adjectives. Now you've seen the process. By the time we go to the second, third, and fourth tea, I won't have to repeat everything too much, and so we can, you know already how it works, and we can focus a little bit more about associating these words here: floral, fruity, blossom, honey, and so on, with the specific taste. And maybe next time, if I remember, what we will do, we will review some of those sections together, so that instead of you can do the other way around. Instead of tasting a tea and asking yourself how does it taste, and you review the list, you can just read the list and say, floral, rose, did I have a tea that remind me of roses? And then you can go that way around. Yeah, there is even a cultivar that is called like a rose. So there are teas out there. Rose is meigui in Chinese, and there is a cultivar that is called like that. All right, so this is everything we had for today, and also our time is over. We continue next Tuesday with another tea. Let's see what we have in the box. So I think we go for with the jumping Swiss yen, the small bags here. I think is the right continuation. I was thinking for a moment if we could go for the black tea, but going to black tea, in particular this black tea, and then back to, it doesn't make much sense. We want to go gradually, and I think it helps. All right. So thank you everyone for joining today. I hope to see you again next week. And as said, if you haven't received these tea tasting notes, just write info@nannuoshan.org and we send them over. And if you're participating and you have some comments, you want to change something, just write to the same email, or if you want you can write to me directly so that not everyone receives that. Is pretty much the same. Instead of info@ is gabriele@nannuoshan.org, and certainly we can work on that together. We can adapt a little bit the format as well. But I have to tell you one thing: if you want me to speak less, then you have to speak more. It's as simple as that. Okay. Good. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day in the US and your evening in Europe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.